Welcome to Cut the COVID Crap Part 54, the Thai study on vaccination leading to cardiovascular effects. New t-shirt speaks for itself, I guess. Okay, so there's a new study out, or it came out last week. It's a Thai study, and it's about the cardiovascular effects of the Pfizer vaccine. This is a specific study of the second shot of the Pfizer vaccine in Thailand in children aged 13 to 18 years old. It's a very important study because it's a prospective study, which means they selected the kids, 301 to be precise. Those 301 kids were monitored, were tested before they got their second shot, and the day after, and a couple of days after, and a week after, 2 weeks. So they did a number of tests, both before and with follow up after the shots. That's a prospective study. Um, this is to measure the potential side effects of the vaccination. This is different from what is reported before, like in the VAERS system, the vaccine side effects reporting system in the US. There, it's voluntary to put the side effects in that system. That system is it takes a good half hour to upload your data in the system, and it's apparently massively underreported. Like it varies from maybe a factor 10 to a factor 30. Who knows, right? But this prospective study is like literally you follow everyone, and even if they don't have any symptoms, no side effects reported, you follow everyone. So you'll see you'll see an accurate representation of the side effects and the potential measurements that are different from what they would normally be. So what do we see? Again, 301 participants. About 2% of the participants, 2% have myocarditis, pericarditis, or suspected subclinical myocarditis. So myocarditis, that's the inflammation of the heart muscle. Pericarditis, that's the inflammation of the heart sac around the muscle. These are dangerous ones. You don't want to have those ones, and they're reported in 2% of the cases, of the 2% of the total group. Um, Special note about the subclinical myocarditis. That means that the boy in this case would not have come to the hospital under normal circumstances. He just came there for the follow up, and they happened to see these markers or tests that showed that he had myocarditis. So these are the typical kind of cases that would normally not be uh, normally not be noticed nor reported for that matter, of course. So now we see that 2% of those kids get something as serious as myocarditis or pericarditis. That, in my honest opinion, is huge. Now, apart from that, there's cardiovascular effects were found in 29% of the cases. So 29% of the cases had some sort of cardiovascular effects. And if you, of course, the link of the study is below. It's a preprint, but it looks pretty good as far as I can see. Um, if you just read the abstract, it's fairly well readable. You see all these cases and these numbers. One of the kids actually went to ICU. Um, if you read the abstract, it seems to be innocent, as in the last line. The clinical presentation of myopericarditis after vaccination was usually mild, with all cases fully recovering within 14 days. So even the one that went to ICU fully recovered within 14 days. The problem with myocarditis and pericarditis is that your heart muscle is has got scar tissue, and that remains for a long time, decades, and possibly you'll be stuck with it for uh, until the end of the life, whenever that may be. So you really don't want to have that. Even if you're discharged from hospital, your heart is likely weaker for decades or a long time. So when it comes to risk reward, risk benefit, you really should take this into account. So again, 2% have confirmed or suspected issues with the heart, and 30% have cardiovascular effects. So the details are in that abstract. There's a lot of terms, but 30% have something noticeable or measurable. That is huge. I mean, and this is after the second shot, right? So what happens after the third shot? I mean, I'm not saying that you hit the exact same percentages every time, but you know, so far, kids probably most of them that went for shots only went for two. But um, this is a very extreme finding, and what I also find extreme that it's only published now, 2.5 years into more than 2.5 years um, into the pandemic, or let's say almost 2 years into the vaccination. And only now we see in Thailand, of all places, and now in Thailand, we finally see a prospective studies, which contains these huge number. Why on earth was this study or something similar not done in the US or the Western world or anywhere where they have these fantastic agencies like the CDC or the FDA or the NIH. Anyway, um, as you should do with these kind of studies, look what doctors have to say about it. So I typically look for, when I see these studies, I look for doctors or scientists commenting on these ones, especially the ones that are pro vaccination, to see if they can shoot on studies like these. I put them in the links below as well. John Campbell was perplexed about the what he found here on YouTube. Dr. Bean, in his bit slower way, showed extreme concern as well. So did Vinay Prasad. I put the links below as usual. So, what do we do with this study? Well, let's jump into the future. This is my son in a few years' time when he is 16 years old.
Hey Dad, I've had myocarditis ever since my vaccination, so now I have to be careful with intensive exercise and I have a higher chance of heart failure for the rest of my life. But why did you let me have a vaccination anyways?
Well, because they said it was safe and effective.
Who is they?
Well, even the US president said it was effective.
Let me Google this. Yes, Biden said in 2021 that if you get vaccinated, you won't get COVID 19. Hang on, isn't that the same guy who ended up with 4 vaccinations and still got COVID 19?
Yep, that's the one.
So you know he was lying by 2022. Why did you have me vaccinated in 2022 then?
Well, maybe it was not that effective, but at least it was safe.
How safe?
They didn't tell.
Wait, they lied before and then you trusted them about safety? Wasn't that the trigger for you to do your own research?
I thought it was the right thing to comply.
The right thing. Once you see that authorities lie, the right thing to do is do your own damn research. In August 2021, a Thai study reveals that after the second vaccination, 30% of children from 13 to 18 had cardiovascular effects. 30%! So you expose me to a 30% cardiovascular risk every few months?
Yes, but that in that Thai study, they all got better.
But they still left the hospital within 2 weeks. Yes, but scar tissue on your heart doesn't heal easily, if at all. You could have known that a significant number of kids, especially boys, will have weak hearts the rest of your lives. Do you even have a freaking brain, Dad? Or are you brain dead?
This is exactly what I would like to avoid. So please do your own research. Think of the risk benefit for your own life, for your child, and I'll see you next time.